I'm John Ballard, and I want to speak to you guys about school choice, being a school choice advocate. Um, as Christians, we know that Proverbs 22:6 says to train up a child in the way he should go, and then when he's old, he will not depart from it. As a Christian, it is our, and as parents that are Christians, it is our duty by God and the commandment of God to raise your children in a Christian education. Yet in our public school system today, I want to you know that that's not a viable source of education. Today we live in a country where 10% of the students who are enrolled in grades kindergarten to 12 attend public schools, yet only 13 of these states in America provide any type of form of a federal voucher system, and they're only provided to students who are handicapped or of low income. So if you're in a school that is terrible school, but it's in a bad area, but there's not a private school even close, unless you're in poverty or a student who's handicapped, you don't even have a chance, even in those 13 states. This issue is the largest civil rights issue in America today. Today's public schools are far behind our private schools in providing good quality education. And I should know because I grew up going to a public school initially and then going to a private school toward graduation from 7th grade on. Our country needs school choice. America has struggled to provide the kind of education that we want for our students and the freedom and safety that they deserve on their campuses, and that's why Americans must speak out about change in the country's education system. America is the richest country in the world, and yet we're 17th in the world in education. In very many statistics that have been brought out have said that every statistical ratio has always, any study has came out and said that the private school system is doing better in reading and math, and yet even the ones that are biased toward low-income families, those students, ethnicity, students with English language proficiency, and when all that stuff's brought into the mix, then it just evens out a little bit. But if you base it still upon like the National Assessment of Education Progress administered to the nation's 4th, 8th, and 12th grades by the National Center for Education Statistics showed that a significantly higher percentage of private school students scored at or above the basic, proficient, and advanced levels than public school students in math, not only math and reading, but writing, history, geography, civics, and science. In the fall of 2013, there were over 50 million of our students going to public schools in comparison to 5.2 million students going to private schools. And yet, America has struggled to even offer them any type of freedom of religion. You see, the Supreme Court has ruled that we can't even pray in any kind of public outing, and we can't have any kind of religious expression at our public schools. 10 Commandments can't be hanged in a public school wall. No Bible verses. Students are warned not to express their faith, and yet so to the point that a student in New Jersey was not a second grade student, wasn't even allowed to sing Awesome God at an after-school event. It was a talent show. We don't allow them religious freedom, and we don't protect our students either. After all the school shootings, our public schools only have 3.3 law officers per 1,000 in comparison to 4.7 at a private school per 1,000. There's 33,366 private schools in America that have those 5.2 million private school students, and yet 86% of those schools enroll 300 or less, and 80% of the private schools out there are religious private schools because they don't have the freedom that they deserve in our public school systems. Our Department of Justice is even fighting against the state of Louisiana as we speak about private school vouchers. And the reason for this is because they don't want our students to be in anything but a failing school, minorities included. In conclusion, our government is failing to provide the quality education its people desire, while also failing to preserve the students' freedom and safety while in the classrooms. And we must organize to change America's education system. Improved education is offering a hope of narrowing the gap between the less and more skilled workers, of fending off the prior prospect of a society divided between the haves and have-nots, of a class society in which an educated elite provide welfare for a permanent class of unemployables. Thank you.